Today we're going to make the world's absolute best fried chicken. I've been perfecting this recipe for over 20 years. My husband loves it, my kids love it, and even more important, my mother-in-law loves it. So if y'all want to make something that'll really impress your in-laws, this is the meal. Now there's no shortcuts when you're making fried chicken. This meal takes some time, especially if you're making it for a lot of people. Today I'm only using about a pound of chicken tenders because I'm making it just for me and my husband. And you want to make 3 to 5 tenders for every person you are serving. And the marinade I'm making to put it in today will do 1 to 2 pounds of chicken. So if you're going to be making it for a large group, you need to multiply the ingredients in this marinade. This will do up to maybe 12-14 chicken tenders. Any more than that, you need more marinade. So we're going to start with the marinade. We need an egg. Yep, we're dipping chicken in chicken. You need about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, maybe a little more. We're going to use about 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and we're going to use a little over 1/2 teaspoon of salt, maybe 3/4 teaspoon. My family likes salt. Honey. We're going to use about 2 tablespoons of honey if you were measuring it in a tablespoon. I'm using a tablespoon to dip it out, but I'm obviously getting more than a measured tablespoon. That's about 2 measured tablespoons right there. And that'll do 1/2 dozen to a dozen chicken tenders. Maybe just a little. And we're going to use lemon juice. Now the lemon juice will really make the chicken tender. And you're going to use 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Not a whole lot. Mix that all up with your fork. You can use a whisk for this too if you like. Just whatever you want. This takes just a minute because the honey sticks to the bottom of the bowl. And you want to make sure you get all your honey mixed in good because you definitely don't want to leave any of the honey in the bowl. It really makes the chicken tasty. Okay, that's pretty good. Pour the marinade over the chicken. Kind of scrape your spices out because they will tend to stick to the bowl. Now I've placed this chicken and the marinade in a plastic bowl with a lid on it. And you want to do that because you don't want your chicken to contaminate anything in your refrigerator, and you don't want anything in your refrigerator to get in your chicken. You're going to mix this up a little bit, you know, make sure all your chicken's coated good, none of it's stuck together. And then we're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. And you don't want to leave it in there too long. I wouldn't like do this overnight or anything, because if you do, your chicken will taste too lemony. So a couple hours is plenty. Okay, while we finish waiting on our chicken to marinate, we're going to get the rest of dinner together. Now we are in the South, so you cannot have fried chicken without mashed potatoes and green beans. It's against the law here. I already peeled the potatoes. If y'all need a video lesson on how to peel potatoes, you're not ready to make this chicken. Now when I make mashed potatoes, I do kind of cut my potatoes up small because you don't want to wait all day for potatoes to cook, and Also, it makes it easier to mash them. They're not huge chunks. Tonight we're going to make hand mashed potatoes, and sometimes I whip them, but that gives you a different taste and a different texture. And I just prefer hand mashed potatoes rather than whipping them with an electric mixer. Just chunk your potatoes up here a little bit. Alright, we're going to set these over here and we'll cook them in just a minute. We're also going to make some green beans. And I do my green beans just a little bit different too. I don't like a lot of water in my green beans. So before I put them in the pot, I'll open them and I'll drain about half of the juice off of the can. And if you happen to have home canned green beans, you can do this with them too. Okay, so you can see there in the pot, there's not a lot of juice on them. You could leave it all on, but you'd have to cook them for a really long time again, and there's just no point cooking them for that long. Alright, we'll leave them there and cook them here in just a minute. Add some seasoning to them and everything here in a minute. Our chicken, one of the big secrets is that you bread it with Ritz cracker crumbs. To make the breading for our chicken, we're going to crush these. The finer you crush them, the better it is. So I start by squeezing the package. I've tried putting them in a food processor, but because they are buttery, they kind of stick to the sides of it and lump up, and they just don't crush good in a food processor. So squeeze the package, that crushes them pretty good. Hold them over your plate and continue to kind of squeeze. I know this is loud, sorry. You can even roll them a little bit. The better you mash them up, the better your chicken's going to be. So take your time to do this. And this sleeve will do the 7 pieces that I'm making. But if you're doing more than 7 pieces, you're going to have more than 1 sleeve of Ritz crackers. Like if you're making this for 8 people, you may use a whole box of Ritz crackers to bread it. So this is not the world's cheapest chicken recipe. It's the world's best fried chicken recipe. Okay, open this up here. That looks pretty good. We've still got a few chunks. I'm going to grab a fork and kind of mash them up a little. Okay, that looks good, but you really do want to take your time and get these crackers crumbled up fine. We need a frying pan because we are making fried chicken. Now, I would like to use the same ingredients that my grandmother used when she cooked. And she cooked everything in lard. But you cannot get the lard that my grandmother used when she cooked anymore. She used lard that came from a pig that she raised, that she fed table scraps and scraps out of the garden. That just does not exist anymore. And several years ago, The food companies created all vegetable shortening and told us that it was a healthy alternative to lard and we should eat it. The problem with all vegetable shortening is that vegetable fats do not solidify, so it has chemicals added to it to make it solid. It is not a healthy alternative to anything. You can't use corn oils because they are all made out of GMO'd corn. So a couple of years ago I found grapeseed oil, and I have been using grapeseed oil now for at least 2 years. It's great for fried foods and it's super healthy. And since about 75% of what we eat in the South is fried, it's a great choice. Now, grapeseed oil, you don't need quite as much as you would with other oils, and you definitely don't need as much as you would with lard or shortening. Like I said, don't use shortening, it's chemically altered. You just want to cover the bottom of your pan with maybe 1/8 of an inch of it, not deep at all. Set this over here out of the way. Okay, now we can grab our chicken out of the fridge. It's soaked up all of the honey and the egg. I have seen a lot of chefs on TV that put garlic in chicken recipes. Do not put garlic on raw chicken, or you will not have chicken tenders, you will have chicken jerky, because garlic makes raw chicken very tough. I'm just going to kind of tumble this chicken around in this marinade again a little bit so that some of the spices stick to it. Okay. Going to turn our oil on like medium low, and we're going to take this chicken out one piece at a time, place it in our crumbs, and you're going to take your fork and mash it out flat. The flatter you mash it, the better it'll taste. It'll be more tender, it will have more breading, and it just has a much better flavor. Said this is not fast chicken, but if you want to impress your in-laws, this is the recipe to make. And if you're making it for a lot of people, it will take a while to make it. This is also a great fried chicken recipe to make and take for picnics. Every time I say picnic, my husband yells, "Are you making fried chicken?" Of course, if you take it on a picnic, you don't take the mashed potatoes. Make potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans. It's delicious cold. Okay. This is another part where you just have to take your time. And you can see how it looks. We're going to take all of our chicken one piece at a time, and we're going to mash it out like that. Okay, our oil is starting to sizzle, and we've got about a pan of chicken mashed out, so we're going to put it in here. Could be a little warmer, but It's close. You definitely don't want to put it in cold oil because it'll just soak your crumbs and then your crumbs will fall off. So that pan could be a little warmer, but it's alright. We're going to turn our mashed potatoes on now and let them start cooking. And we're going to finish mashing out our chicken while that starts cooking. Okay, now our chicken's frying good and our grease is good and hot. I'm going to turn it back down just a hair because I don't want the chicken to burn. I really wish y'all could smell this because it already smells so good. Okay, I think this is ready to take out of the pan now. You want a clean plate, and I'm just going to drain it on some paper towels. Now, don't use the same plate that you breaded the chicken on because chicken has bacteria in it that can contaminate your cooked food. And like I said before, you want to be really careful when you're handling chicken. You don't want to contaminate anything. I'm even using a clean fork, not the one that I've been turning it with and breading it with, because this chicken is cooked, so when I stick this fork into it, I don't want to contaminate it. Okay, you can see this second pan full of chicken is coming out a little darker than our first pan. That's because we had crumbs in the pan from the first batch, and those crumbs are getting cooked darker. If you're making several dozen pieces of this, you'll have to scrape the crumbs out of your pan after every 3 panfuls probably, or your chicken will taste burned. Okay. Put a little pepper in our potatoes. I'm going to put probably a half teaspoon of salt in these. And I think I'm just going to add a couple more tablespoons of milk. My husband does not like dry potatoes. That looks good. Taste it. Good potatoes. And they're very hot because I set them back on the stove by. Turn these green beans up. You can see how much juice is still in those green beans. I want it to cook until there's nothing left except for the butter and the salt and the pepper, because they will have way more flavor if I do that. Okay, let's take our chicken out. Oh, that looks so good. Out of room. Let's grab a couple plates and see if we can make my husband happy with this fried chicken. Okay, I think I'm going to start him off with a couple of pieces of this really brown stuff that I took out of the second pan full. Alright, that's pretty good. Don't want the potatoes and the chicken to get cold. Now there's a meal fit for a king. It'd please a mother-in-law and impress her, and could even lend you a husband. Hope y'all enjoy your southern fried chicken made Becky's way.